Now, you're welcome along. We're here to discuss Ireland's defeat at the hands of England, 48 points to nil at Musgrave Park. We are joined by Jenny Murphy and Fiona Hayes here in studio. So, where do we start in this one, Fiona? 48-0. There would have been a time in Irish rugby where this would have been cause for much navel-gazing and upset and what the hell is going on. Where are we in 2023? Is this, I hasten to use this phrase, is this an acceptable day at the office for Irish rugby?
Look, I think parts of the game were acceptable. So the 30 minutes just after half time, they'll take massive things from that and how they defended and how things are. There was talk before the game of 100-0 scoreline. So if you're looking at that, I didn't agree with that personally. I thought this Irish team have the ability to improve much in defence from that Italian game. But if you're looking at where the areas they improved, I definitely think, although there was 50 plus tackles missed, I thought defensively they were really, really good and aggressive, far more aggressive at the breakdown. And all they're going to be focusing on is this Scotland game. They knew they weren't going to win this England game. So I think it's a huge boost for them, but it's just patches of the game they'll be looking at.
England weren't at their best. It wasn't a full-strength England side either. We should emphasise that.
Yeah, I think England have... It's nice to have the depth of players that they have, that they're able to bring in someone like Natasha Hunt, who is an absolutely fantastic scrum half, to start her first game in the Six Nations, and kind of they're all putting their hands up for selection for Le Crunch next week. Yes, it's not the England's strongest side, but I did think there was a lot more fight in that Irish side. And I think maybe some parts of the media might be like, oh, we've kept it under 50, like, not bad. But for the players, they're still going to be really frustrated. Like any game that you play, at the end of the day, it's 15v15. I know that England are a professional outfit. They're 5-6 years ahead of Ireland in terms of the structures that they have in place. But you still want to do a job at the end of it. So, no, players will be disappointed, but we are where we are, and now it's on to Scotland.
Why are we seeing so many missed tackles in this Irish side?
It could be a number of things. I don't think there's one like silver bullet of, oh, this is probably why.
Yeah.
It could be like communication error. There's a lot of new combos coming in and out the whole time as well. So it's kind of difficult to, I guess, get that bit of cohesion in place.
And with that as well, Jen, I think with this game in particular, the last 10 minutes, it was probably a tiredness set in because they had put a lot in for that second 30 or that second half 30 minutes. So they were sliding off tackles. I think Dana came up on the line. There was a couple of times where players were caught out of position and it was all too easy. So I would imagine in those 10 minutes, they might have racked up 10 or 11 missed tackles. That brings your number up really high then. So it's that fatigue and I suppose England don't have that because they're so professional and they're in that environment.
But it has been a theme across the championship, missed tackles, and the previous 70 minutes didn't make for great reading either. For whatever reason, that the scramble defence was better today and the work rate, but that first point of contact doesn't seem to be going very well.
I think a lot of it is as well, you need to get up off the line. So you have to have trust in your inside and outside. So if someone is moving up on my inside and telling me, Jen, go, you're free, go, it gives you a lot more freedom to, I guess, put pace on it and put pressure on the offensive side. We're not doing that. We're doing that in patches. And we're also kind of not like we're not square to the tackler either. So if you're making these side-on tackles, like against strong ball carriers, they're going to get gain line constantly. So you want to get set early, make those hits early and kind of go from there. A
couple of things will have to improve for Scotland, and we're now framing this English performance with the view to wooden spoon decider. Lineout is going to have to improve. So that's 2 weeks now, full-time training. That's just an unacceptable situation if we see it repeated again in Scotland. We'll box that away. In attack, Ireland in this championship have scored penalty try against Italy and a try from close range against Wales. That's 0 points on the scoreboard today. That's got to be a disappointment. They're just not penetrating.
Yeah, you've spot on. That's probably one of the most disappointing aspects is that we actually got inside England's 22 a couple of times and we had the ability, the line out let us down, but as players on a pitch, if you've lost 2 lineouts inside a 22, maybe it's time for a quick tap and go. It's time to vary things up. And I think the decision making in general around that area, I suppose, has been kind of poor. They're backing themselves, but it just comes a time where you say, okay, that's out the window, especially in that cauldron of such a massive game. You've got to hold on to the ball. I thought our back three attacked with a bit more endeavour this week. Footwork was really good, and we got ourselves into positions, but unfortunately too late to a couple of clean outs. Line out went astray. So it's about nailing down those little things. And I suppose as a coach, what you can do is have them in that intense environment. Maybe it might only be 20 minutes of a training session, but it seems when the pressure is coming on, that's when we're folding. So it's about getting them ready, because Scotland are going to bring that pressure.
Yeah. How do you see that Scotland game going next week? We'll have it live. We're looking forward to it, I think. But it would be a game which will define the championship from an Irish point of view.
Yeah, this is make or break, and the result of this game is going to have massive consequences to where we kind of potentially sit with tournaments down the line. We know that the pressure's on, the players know that the pressure is on, but I do believe, and I think they believe as well, that they're very much capable of putting in a performance. It's just tidying up some of the fundamentals, adding that little bit more pace, and then probably being a little bit more dogged and organised in defence. So it's when we're at the moment, I think Scotland are playing the nicer brand of rugby. They do seem to have a bit more of a plan in place, and players seem to be gelling a little bit more, and they've got more consistency. There's less kind of shifts in and out, particularly in key positions. We'll see how this Italian-Scotland game go, but it's like recovery now for the Irish girls, and all eyes are on the Scots. Yeah,
they sure are. We are out of time. We'll come to you next week in plenty of depth on it. We do have that game next Saturday evening, 7 o'clock, Virgin Media 2. Jenny and Fiona will be along as well. So looking forward to that. Do tune in.